The other day I made a video where I said that I thought out of the acceptable handgun calibers that have proven themselves to be effective over the years, that I thought the 45 ACP was the least justifiable of those rounds. It was the round that gave you the least advantage of all the other rounds. It didn't really give you any major advantage over any other choice you could make. Now this really pissed off some people, really ruffled some feathers. Some people really got their depends in a twist, and they got really angry with me. Now the people that got angry with me seem to fall into two different categories. The first category is people that just didn't understand the question. They didn't understand the topic. They thought I was saying that the 45 ACP is not an effective round. They were like, well, let me shoot you with my 45 and see how well you do. Well, with those people, I don't know what I can do for them, because we weren't saying the 45 ACP wasn't effective. We were just saying out of the effective rounds, it gives you the least advantages. It's the hardest to justify. So to those people, I guess I could just say, make sure your special helmet's on tight and go back to watching Alex Jones or masturbating to cat videos on the internet or whatever it is dumb guys do every day, because I really can't help you. Now, the second kind of person that got upset were people that thought I was wrong, and they thought the 45 ACP does have some distinct advantages. Now, these people also seem to fall into two different types of people. The first being people that thought the 45 ACP has the most knockdown power. They're like, 45 ACP's got more knockdown power than any other round. My uncle was in Vietnam and he would shoot the Viet Cong 20 times with his rifle. They wouldn't stop, but he'd shoot them once with his 45 and take them off for feet. Well, if your uncle actually did tell you that story about Vietnam, slap him and ask him what Canada was like in the 1960s, because he probably was there, not really in Vietnam, because that's a ridiculous story. Knockdown power is not a thing. It is a ridiculous myth. It's like the Loch Ness Monster or the female orgasm. It's something everybody talks about, but I'm pretty sure is not really a thing. Now, the second type of person in this category are the people that felt that the 45 does have an advantage because it leaves a bigger hole. Now, that does make more sense because it is a bigger bullet, so it could leave a bigger hole. But for people who understand how bullets perform in actual body tissue, like muscle, bone, etc., they understand that the size of the hole, that's not really that big of an issue. It's what you hit that's the bigger issue. Bodies don't react like gel does. There's not like a permanent expanse cavity quite like there is in gel. So just the size of the hole doesn't matter that much, especially when you take into account that the 45 might not be able to make that hole deep enough to do any damage. If it has to go through any hard tissues or bone or even some like a wet wool jacket, it might not perform optimally. So that bigger hole means nothing. And plus, when you take into account that you can leave almost as big a hole more reliably and deeper with a 40 caliber, plus you can make more holes because the same size gun will hold more rounds, that whole big hole theory is kind of blown out of the water. Now, some people got upset because they thought I was saying that 45 ACP hasn't kept up with other rounds as far as technology goes. Like people haven't bothered to upgrade the 45 ACP. They have bothered to upgrade the 45 ACP, but the 45 ACP has certain limitations that they just can't overcome, such as the length of the casing compared to the diameter and the weight of the bullet. There's just some physics that are hard to overcome with the 45 ACP. It's never going to be the optimal round simply because of the way it's built. And some people said, well, where are you getting stories like I'm bouncing off of windshields and not being able to penetrate hard barriers, etc.? I'm getting that from real life, from reality. Look at history. Talk to people that have actually had experience, people that did testing for police departments. The 45 ACP is notorious for not penetrating hard barriers or not penetrating sufficiently if it hits bone. So that's just a known fact. The fact that you don't know it doesn't change it. Now, some people did get upset and say, well, how can you say the 45 doesn't have any distinct advantages, but you can still say something like the 380 or the 38 Special have distinct advantages? Why wouldn't you list them as the worst round? Well, because those do actually have advantages. Take the 380, for example. If you want a tiny little gun that you can stick in your back pocket, no one will even see it, yet it still holds 6 or 7 rounds, there's a big advantage to the 380 right there. And as far as the 38 Special goes, if you want the uber reliability and simplicity of a revolver, but you don't want that high recoil of a Magnum caliber, well, there's your advantage to the 38 Special right there. If you want proven performance with high capacity and a cheap enough round that you can practice with a lot, well, there's your advantages to 9mm right there. And if you want a round that still allows you more ammunition in your gun than a 45 would, but you want something that performs even better than a 45, especially in human bodies, well, there's your advantages to the 40 and the 357 SIG right there. If you want a semi-automatic handgun caliber that can take down a bear, there's your advantage to 10mm right there. And if you just want uber powerful rounds in a nice, simple platform that's easy to use and uber reliable, well, there's your advantages to 357 Magnum, 44 Magnum, etc. Right there are advantages to all those rounds. The 45 ACP doesn't give you the best of anything. There's no real distinct advantage that you take into account when you're choosing your concealed carry caliber. It doesn't perform the best. It doesn't allow you the most capacity. It's not the easiest to handle as far as recoil is concerned. It's just not the best at anything. So therefore, it's hard to justify it. I mean, really, when you choose the 45 ACP as your carry caliber, you're saying, I don't want the more reliable revolver, I want a semi-automatic. And I want the semi-automatic that gives me the least capacity, that gives me middle-of-the-road performance, and isn't really that cost-effective. When you try to justify the 45 ACP, your only argument should be, it's the round I prefer, or I like the 1911. And if you ever utter the words, I like big holes, you better be justifying why you slept with that truck stop skank that you met, or why you voted for Hillary Clinton, not why you chose the 45 ACP as your carry round. And I'm not even saying you have to justify your carry caliber, because you don't have to justify it to anyone but yourself. You choose what you want to carry. If you want to carry a 22, you carry a 22. All I'm saying is, out of the acceptable and proven self-defense calibers, the 45 ACP is the one, in my opinion, that doesn't really offer you any real advantages.